by Bhagwan's grace, joining us today is Brother Deshpande from the Sri Sathya Sai Center for Human Values. The 2019 Global Emotions Report released a very interesting statistics. They said that 1 out of every 3 person in the world is going through extreme stress. This is published by Gallup, the American Analytics and Advisory Committee. And when we read this information and when we tried to see what is the stress level in the world, what we found is if you search for the top 10 most stressed countries in the world, you find that this list is a mix of countries which are affluent, which are absolutely developed in the sense that they have a high standard of life. Also, it includes countries which are not so economically progressed. So, it is a mix of countries which are developed as well as countries which are underdeveloped and countries which are developing. So, this is a problem which is there everywhere in the world. And if we come to India, the 2019 Cigna 360 Wellness Survey says that 82% of people in India are undergoing some stress or the other, be it job-related stress, be it related to health, related to finances and so on. And what they also found is stress is today one of the top health concerns among teenagers. And if we see in the recent times, our battle for COVID has only made the situation even worse. Everybody is going through some level of stress or the other. Somebody is struggling through severe stress, someone else is grappling through moderate stress. But stress is a pandemic today that all of us are dealing with, and we thought maybe it is a good time to focus on how to deal with this based on what Swami has beautifully explained and given the solutions to us in his numerous discourses, and see how we can make our lives easier and happier.
And what better place to be discussing this from than Prasanthi Nilayam, the abode of supreme peace?
Yes, absolutely.
In fact, in the very first Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 1, in one of the most beautiful discourses, Swami says that I have come to alleviate each and every one of you from this moment of stress to a place of serenity and equanimity. And so the one who can bestow upon us the ultimate peace, let us hear and let us discuss what are his tips and how we can enrich our own lives from being a stressful one to being a peaceful one.
So how to move from Ashanti to Prasanthi.
That's
and we are so happy to be doing this from, as Brother Amey said, Prasanthi Nilayam. So can I begin with a story, Amey?
Definitely.
So there is the story of a farmer. Now this farmer was a very simple, contented man. He had a little piece of land, and every morning he would go to the fields and he would do his cultivation, and by the time he would come back, it would be late in the afternoon. So his schedule was wherein he was in tune with nature. Get up very early before dawn and sleep very early. As the sun sets, he's also resting. So dawn till dusk. So early morning when he would get up, he would help his wife. Together they would do the chores of the house, and his wife would prepare a little meal for him which he would take because he goes very early, so something to eat mid-morning time. And so he would finish his work, and by the time he completed his work in the ground, in the fields, he would come back perhaps 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and he would bring some produce, whatever he has cultivated, and the children would be waiting for the father to come, because he had these 2 children who would have gone to the school. They will come back and together they would have a meal, and he will ask the children, what did you study in the school today, how was the day? And it was a very nice, as they say, the family that eats together and prays together, lives together. It was that kind of a beautiful setting. And after that he would rest for a while, then he would go to the market in the evening, sell his produce, and then whatever he would get, he would share with his wife and children, and night they would again eat together, have a lovely dinner, and then he would tell stories. That would be the time where the children would be waiting for the father, because they were a very devout couple. So he would tell them stories from the scriptures, story of Markandeya, Dhruva, Prahalada, and the children would sleep listening to these beautiful stories, and the father and the mother would be waiting for the dawn to get up again before dawn and start their day. And so every day when he went to the fields, there was a song in his heart, there was this beautiful hum on his lips, and he was a picture of joy. And one day when he was going to the fields, so another person meets him and says, his name was Shambu, this farmer, says, Shambu, how are you so happy? I mean, every day you come for work and you are like full of elation. What is the secret? And Shambu says, well, there's no big secret. I just come, cultivate the field, and whatever I earn, I share it with my family. Actually, my wife and children are my inspiration, because whatever I get, my children and my wife, they are very happy. They are happy, so I am happy. So what is the reason to have any worry or anxiety? So I'm always happy. And the man said, yeah, this is very interesting, but so you're all the time happy? He said, yeah, I'm happy. And it continued like that for many days, until one day when Shambu woke up and he found at the footstep of his house a bag. And it looked very interesting, so he went closer and he saw the bag, and as he peeped, he saw that it was gold. So he got the bag inside, and the whole family now excitedly wanted to see the bag, and to their amazement, they see that it is gold. It is gold coins, and the children and the wife, they want to count the gold coins, and as they count, they find that it is 50, 60, 70, 80. They're so excited, 80 gold coins, 90 gold coins. And as they count, they find that there are more than 95 gold coins. As they count, it is 99 gold coins, and the children are waiting, probably it will be 100, but it just stops there. It is not 100. And everybody is like disappointed, like it's just 99. And they think, the wife says, no, it must be 100. Just check the bag, check the front yard, the person who left this, it's God's grace that he has given us, but definitely, he would have given us one more. So they all check, and it is not there. One more is not there. And the wife says, you know what, we should have that one extra, that one gold coin is missing. Once we have that, we will be as good as that merchant on the high street. They say he has 100 gold coins, we also have 100 gold coins. And Shambu says, yes, I have to get this. I have to earn this one more gold coin. And so that day he wakes up early, he goes to the fields, he finishes his work, and he goes 2 kilometers away to a factory to see if he can get an additional job there. He gets the late evening job there, and from that day, he's in a hurry, because he finishes the work in the fields, sells the produce, comes back, freshens up, goes to the factory, and it was after that just hurry, worry, curry, as Swami says. And the person who used to always admire looking at Shambu and say that, Shambu, wow, you are a picture of peace. Now he says, Shambu, what happened? That song in the heart is no more there, that smile in the lips is no more there. And Ame, what has actually happened is the smiling Shambu has become now a stressed Shambu, and he has become a member of what they call the 99 Club, isn't it?
Doesn't it all sound too familiar?
Absolutely.
Sounds a bit like all our lives.
Yes.
When that Shambu is being described over here. So let's try and analyze this beautiful story. So in the beginning, you have a Shambu who is absolutely content with whatever he has. And then comes the real turning point in his life, towards, sorry to say, but the sad part of his life, which is a bag of 99 coins. And a person who thought that everything was fine is in fact become richer and more well off now, and in spite of becoming more well off, he is more stressed. Why? Because he is asking the question to himself, is there more to life than what I have? Right? After earning a 99 gold coins, he is wondering, is there a little more to life, which is that one missing gold coin? Right? So that's the second step. So a good man, a satisfied man, becomes a doubting man now because of the doubt of this one missing coin. And then now this one missing coin has put the seed of desire in that doubting mind.
Doubt that what I have is not enough.
Exactly, which is does life have more to give me?
Correct.
Right, the pursuit of that elusive one gold coin has now put in this desire to actually go in for that.
Yes.
And it is this desire which is led, it is that striving to get that elusive utopian gold coin, which has now led him to be more stressful. So very quickly to analyze, a content man gets the bag of 99, has the doubt sowed in his mind because of that one missing coin. That one missing coin has now led to the desire, and that desire has led to stress.
Absolutely. In fact, as you analyze the sequence, I'm reminded of what Bhagwan himself said, way back in his discourse, 28 September 1990. Swami says, the 6 enemies are derivations of the first one, namely Kama. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, which Swami always talks about. Swami says it starts with desire. Desire leads to expectation. Expectation related to the senses.
Yes.
And this expectation, when they are not realized, they lead to disappointment. The disappointment leads to anger. Anger leads to losing our discrimination, losing our intellect, and slowly everything is lost.
Exactly. In fact, what Swami has pointed over here is exactly what he himself said in the battle of Kurukshetra. In possibly, I would consider this as the most logical and scientific explanations of why we have stress in our lives. In chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, in the verse 62 and 63, probably the most beautiful synthesis of the human problem. So the Lord says, Dhyayato vishahan punsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamaha krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibramaha smriti bhramsha buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. And that is exactly what Swami is referring in this particular quote.
Absolutely. I mean, so if you see, there was this incompleteness which Bhagwan has so beautifully explained, and that led to some disequilibrium, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. So what has really happened is this desire, it has the ability to create a disequilibrium. And what is stress? Stress is nothing but lack of equilibrium. Right? In many ways, look at our own, either it is pulse, or whether our heartbeat, or whether our breathing, the way we breathe, our temperature, our sugar levels, everything is all about balance. And what do we consider as stress? We consider as stress anything which is away from what should be the ideal, right?
Yes.
So the moment our heartbeat starts to get a little more, we are stressed.
Correct.
The moment our blood pressure goes up, it is stress.
Yes.
So it is the lack of equilibrium or balance in our life that we can consider as stress. And the problem with us, as the way the Lord mentions, Swami and Lord Krishna also says, is that the problem is we are looking for the satisfaction, or now we all want equilibrium, right? So we have moved from a state of, we want to move from a state of disequilibrium back to equilibrium, and we believe that this equilibrium is going to be besought from the world, right? Dhyayato vishayan punsa. Vishayan means the object, the outside external object which is in the world, and that is what is leads to all of the rest of the things. Why? So let's have a look. Why is it that the world cannot provide me with that kind of equilibrium? So the following are some of the thoughts that you can maybe consider of the characteristics of this world. Number one, it's a concept that we all who have studied economics 101, you can call it, which is the law of diminishing marginal utility. So what does this law say? That with the consumption of every subsequent unit, the amount of joy or satisfaction you will get keeps on reducing. Very simple example. I think the best gulab jamuns in Prasanthi Nilayam can be found in North Indian canteen without a doubt. I think all of us will agree.
Yes.
So we love gulab jamun. So we go and we pop in the first gulab jamun into our mouth, and wow, it's beautiful. And so we take a second, and we take a third, and we take a fourth. And probably by the time, depending upon our appetite, by the time you reach the fifth or the sixth, the amount of joy that the first and the second gulab jamun gave, the curve starts to dip.
Yes.
Right? So that is what is called as the law of diminishing marginal utility. That the world has this ability to first give you some amount of joy, but the more and more you consume, the lesser and lesser joy it starts to give.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is one of the problems of the world.
Yes.
The second is we are looking for infinite happiness. Is that right?
Yes.
There are no end to our desires.
Permanent peace.
We want permanent, everlasting, and like the max.
Yeah.
Mera dil mange more. That kind of. Now, while the mind and all of us, we are seeking this maximum happiness, this infinite happiness, we are seeking it from a finite source. Yes. The earth and all our nature is definitely finite. For example, it is said, I'll give you another statistic over here, that if all of us were to live the most prosperous lives ever, in the sense that we all have all the basic amenities and there is everything possible that that the human life can enjoy, if all of us were to have that, all the 7 billion of us were to have that, do you know that one earth will not be sufficient to satisfy all our desires?
If everybody wants to lead that high standard of life.
The high standard of life, which is, usually it's called, in quotes, the American dream. If everybody wanted to live the American life or the American dream, we will require the resources of 4 earths, not one earth.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's that, and we don't have 4 earths.
Yeah.
We are not going to be having 4 earths for at least the the foreseeable future. And so that pretty much it tells us that you're looking for infinite peace in a finite place.
Absolutely. In fact, as you say this, Amey, I'm really reminded of how Bhagwan very often, right from the 50s and 60s, used to stress on sealing on desires.
That's right.
And we used to always say the COD to GOD. If you want God,
the royal path.
Yeah, the royal path. You have to practice COD, sealing on desires. And I remember there's this group of youngsters who went to this restaurant and they ordered food and they had a very nice time, and as they finished the food, they got the bill and they paid the money, and as they were walking out, suddenly the manager came running and he said, sorry, I cannot let you go. You have to pay this penalty. I said, why? He said, no, you have left some food on the table. I said, so what? We have paid. We have paid for all the food that we ordered. What's the problem? And the manager says, you paid to eat all the food, not to waste the food.
Because I guess what you have wasted is not your resource, it's the community's resource.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. So I feel that was, something to really think about when we use the resources around us. And absolutely. I remember when Professor Anil Kumar, in a conversation with Bhagwan, once told Swami, is modernization not using all these gadgets? I mean, that's how we understand a modern lifestyle, isn't it? You have the AC, you have the high-speed trains, you have a very comfortable house with Wi-Fi and everything. I mean, that is what is a modern lifestyle.
True.
And he said, Swami, is this not modernization? And Swami says, no, No, who told you this is modernization? This is not modernization. Swami said, modernization is limitation. To learn to live with less, that is what is modernization.
In fact, how relevant that is.
Yeah.
You know, the concept of minimalism today
Yes.
is becoming probably the biggest fad in the world. Everybody talks about minimalism, and Swami spoke about that
Yeah.
decades
back.
ago.
When minimalistic living, as you said, that is what is modernization. And Swami says that that is how we should tune our lives. And today I feel, as we look at the COVID pandemic and the way the nature is actually trying to force us in a way into this. Learn to live with less. Learn to share what you have. Learn to feel and care for the other. I think that's where we
Absolutely.
are moving now, isn't it?
Yes. So going back to that point, which is that the law of diminishing marginal utility, and that we are seeking to get infinite, happiness from a finite source. The another point about this world, which is very strange, is that the more and more, just to maintain the same level of peace now, I need more and more of the same. What used to give me happiness before, now no more gives me happiness, and that is what leads to what is called as addiction. Right? All of the addictive substances is all about having more and more just to maintain myself there. So, that is something which is absolutely dangerous, and that leads us to the fourth point, which is that whatever the world gives, the more and more it gives us, it is only going to harm us. It only leads to harm, right? Anything in excess, and that's what Buddha says, the path, the middle path of moderation, the golden path of moderation. And so the world, the more and more you start consuming, the more and more it is going to cause us stress, because it is going to harm us. And finally, we have to depend, it is all the time constantly asking us to depend on something that we don't have. It is asking us to depend on the outside. So these are the 5 problems. If you start depending upon the world to give you peace, this is what is going to happen.
I mean, what is temporary, you're asking what is temporary to give you what is permanent. That is not possible.
It's just impossible, yes.
And in fact, Bhagwan himself has given the diagnosis for this. Both of us have been speaking for half an hour trying to see why this stress, why this lack of peace. But if you see, Swami himself has given this formula, and he's given it so sweetly, so beautifully. So I think we should listen to Bhagwan, isn't it, Amit?
Absolutely. And so this is a beautiful clipping from a discourse given in Kodaikanal in 1991, in which Swami in fact tells us how we can get this peace. What is the exact solution to it? And having once heard it from Swami, let's dive deeper into what are those points that Swami is telling us. So let us listen with rapt attention to Bhagwan.
This is cloth.
This is a cloth.
This is cloth.
But this is not the cloth.
Bundle of threads.
It is nothing but bundle of threads.
This is threads cotton.
It is not threads.
This is cotton.
It is cotton.
First cotton.
First it was cotton,
Second thread.
then it became
Then
thread,
cloth.
and finally it became a cloth.
Without cotton there is no thread.
Without cotton there is no thread.
Without thread there is no cloth.
Without thread there is no cloth.
First thoughts is like cotton.
Thought is like the cotton.
We are fine on.
Desires like threads.
Desires are the threads.
Mind is like cloth.
Mind is like the cloth.
Bundle of desires is mind.
Mind is nothing but a bundle of desires.
ఇప్పుడు ఈ క్లాత్ మనకున్న కుదిరితే ఒక్కొక్కటి రిమూవ్ చేస్తే there is no cloth.
If you want to destroy the cloth, you have to remove the threads one by one.
అదే రీతిగానే desires క్రమక్రమేణా మనం తగ్గించుకుంటే there is no mind.
If you reduce the desires gradually, there will not be any mind at all.
Less luggage, more comfort, with travel pressure.
If you travel with less luggage, it is very comfortable.
Life is like a long journey.
Life is like a long journey.
We desires are luggages.
Desires are the luggage.
ఈ లగేజెస్ కొంచెం తగ్గించుకుంటే మనం ట్రావెల్ సులభంగా చేసుకోవచ్చు.
If you reduce the luggage, our travel will be very comfortable.
Too much desires.
We have too many desires, too much desires.
Very bad.
This is very bad.
ఈ డీటెయిల్స్ పెరిగే కొద్దీ మనకు అశాంతి పెరిగిపోతుంది.
The more desires we have, the more restlessness we develop.
ఎప్పుడు ఈ డిజైర్స్ తగ్గించుకొని అటాచ్మెంట్ తగ్గించుకుంటే ఎంతనో హాయిగా ఉంటారు.
When we reduce the desires and attachments, we'll get peace of mind.
Many people they want peace of mind. I want peace of mind. I want peace of mind.
Many people keep saying, I want peace of mind, I want peace of
I want
mind.
peace, I want peace, I want peace.
I want peace, they say.
How many words are there? I want peace. These are 3 words.
The sentence has 3 words.
I want peace.
There are 3 words, I want peace.
I is ego, want is desire. Remove it, peace is there.
From these 3 words, if you remove the 2 words, I, which is ego, want, which is desire, then you are left with only
ఇప్పుడు
peace.
స్వామి దగ్గర ఒక బుక్ కావాలి వెళ్తాం.
You want a book from Swami.
ఇప్పుడు స్వామి ఒక పార్సల్ చేస్తాడు నీకు.
Swami sends it by a parcel.
ఈ పార్సల్ చేసినప్పుడు నీకు ఆ బుక్ ఎట్లా ఉంటుంది?
But when it is sent by parcel, how do you
ఈ
get the book?
పార్సల్ అనేటువంటి ప్యాక్ రిమూవ్ చేస్తే లోపల బుక్ చిక్కుతుంది.
If you remove the outer covering of the parcel, you get the book.
ఈ యొక్క పార్సల్ అనేటువంటి ఈ ప్యాకింగ్ రిమూవ్ చేయకుండా లోపల బుక్ మనకి ఎట్లా లభిస్తుంది?
Without removing the outer covering of the parcel, how can you get the book?
కనుక పీస్ అనేటువంటి ఒక పార్సల్లో వచ్చేసేసింది.
The peace is given to you in a parcel.
దీనికి ఒకవైపున ఐ అనే ఈగో, ఒకవైపున డిజైర్ అనేటువంటి దీన్ని ప్యాక్ చేసింది.
So this peace is packed in 2 things. I with the ego and want with the desire.
డిజైర్ ఈ రెండింటిని మనం విడదీస్తే మన బుక్ మనకు ఆ పీస్ అనేటువంటి మనకు లభిస్తుంది.
So if you remove the ego and desire, you naturally get the
అప్పుడే
peace.
మనకు పీస్ చిక్కుతుంది.
That is what is peace.
So that is what is peace. Bhagwan gives that formula. I think all of us have heard this also many times. This is nothing new. But every time you listen to it, you feel that we have to contemplate on it deeper and deeper. I want. Swami says remove want. And that's what we are saying. Don't say I want this looking at the world. The moment you are saying want, that is desire, as Bhagwan is saying.
Yes.
And I, removing that I, saying, okay, I accomplished this, I achieved this, I can do this, I will be able to get this done. You know, that whole feeling of ego.
And I think very simply, ego is just identification with his body mind.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. In fact, you know, Ame, as you say this, it's reminded of this little story that Bhagwan used to say. This person who lost an object, he lost it inside the house. And after some time, you know, he was searching for it. And he went out and he started looking for it. There was a lamp post, and so there he started searching, and a person comes and says that, you know, what are you searching? And he says, no, I lost this object. Where did you lose it? And I lost it inside the house. You lost it inside the house? Why are you searching outside? I mean, what is this? What is this? You know, are you out of your mind? He said, yeah, I lost it inside, but inside there is no light. You know, the lamp post is here, light is here, so I'm searching here. I mean, see, you know,
It's the classic story.
It's a classic story. You know, we laugh at it. You know, we feel how foolish that person is. But I feel, you know, if we think deeper, inadvertently, we are also in the same way trying to search for something that we lost inside, outside, isn't it? Because we are feeling there is light. We are not discovering the light with it.
Yeah. In fact, because we have lost peace of mind, and our mind is within us, and our mind is not outside of us.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it is all about finding that peace within our mind, which is pretty much the solution to getting rid of all the stress.
And the mind, as you brought out, it is that most powerful instrument that Bhagwan has given us.
Exactly.
Which will help us to go within.
Exactly. In fact, as Swami would often say in his discourse, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. It is mind alone that is responsible for our bondage as well as our sorrow or our liberation. So, what is the problem with this mind? You know, we all know that, yes, I completely agree with Bhagwan on this. And then Swami goes on to explain that this mind, you know, which is our best infrastructure that we have to deal with anything, right? For everything we use our mind. But from time to time, just like the smartphones that we have got, and you know, some bug enters it, or you know, some bug enters the software. Similarly, there are 3 kinds of bugs that taint our mind or give problem to our mind, and these need to be debugged if we can use the software language for it. So Swami, in fact, very beautifully gives us the categories for these 3 bugs, or you know, the larger buckets in which all our problems happen. So let's really think about it, because that is where we are going to go to in when Swami says remove want, remove I, and you will have peace. So how do we actually reach there? So Swami says that there are three issues with the mind. One is mala, the second is vikshepa, and the third is avarana. So what is mala? Swami gives the example of a mirror. So you want to see, and he gives the simile of the mirror to the mind of man. So if you want to see a reflection of yours in the mirror, but if there is a layer of dust on top of the mirror, will you be able to see your reflection? No, and therefore you will have to remove that, and that is nothing but mala. And that can be done through sacred work, through all the time taking up seva or selfless service. That's right. So selfless service is the solution for removing mala, as Bhagwan says. To remove vikshepa, vikshepa is nothing but the wavering nature of mind. So you take the same example of the mirror. If the mirror was all the time shaking, will you be able to see or focus on your reflection? Once again, no. So you need to steady the mind, and for that you namasmarana, japa, which is the same, and dhyana. These are the solutions to reduce the waywardness of the mind. And the third is avarana, which is nothing but, what if the mirror is covered with a cloth? If it's covered with a cloth, once again you will not be able to see your reflection. And that can happen only through jnana or knowledge or wisdom. So if these are the three issues of the mind, and we know Swami has even given us the solution, which is for mala, to remove mala, it is selfless service. To remove vikshepa, it is japa and dhyana. And for removing avarana, it is the getting of knowledge. We all know about the amount of importance Swami gave to selfless service. And that in itself is another huge topic that we probably will deal with another day, maybe in another satsang. What we would like to do in today's and in the coming weeks satsang is we would like to focus on this vikshepa, which is how to remove the waywardness of the mind through japa and through dhyana.
Yeah, and in fact, Bhagwan very emphatically states in the Dhyana Vahini, Swami says, the chief purpose of dharana and dhyana is to minimize the travels of the mind and force it to stay in one place. Holding it on to that fixed stage, one should continue sadhana for a long time. And in fact, the beautiful promise that Swami gives is there is no limit to the joy and peace that one can have once you are onto the path of dhyana, japa sahita dhyana, as Bhagwan used to say. And Amay, I feel that it is really Swami's design, it is his will that we are recording this satsang on the day Bhagwan installed the meditation tree,
wow,
which is the symbol of inspiration for us to take on to this path of dhyana. Way back in 1959, in the month of April, when Bhagwan was on the sands of Chitravati, Swami took a little sand and made it into a mound. And when he made that mound, there's always expectation in people's minds what is going to come out, because those were the Leela days of Bhagwan. Every time he would bring out something, it could be an idol, it could be a sweet, it could be anything, but every time it was a beautiful surprise. And that pleasant evening, Bhagwan removed from the sands this dazzling copper plate, 10 inches by 15 inches. And Swami said that in the earlier times, ancient sages and saints, even Buddha, they used to look for energized places for their sadhana. Buddha used to have the Bodhi tree. And Swami said, this copper plate is a sasana. This is to be installed under such a tree so that when people sit under the shade of such a tree, then they'll be able to subdue their mind and achieve greater concentration. And on June 29th, 1959, this very day, June 29th, Bhagwan installed this copper plate. And on that day, Swami made this declaration: in times to come, the power that is invested here will draw yogis and spiritual aspirants who have attained a certain level of spiritual attainment to Prashanti Nilayam. And Swami says, this mysterious force will pull people from all over the globe to experience the peace that is Prashanti.
So in fact, how blessed we are that Swami has actually given us a beautiful symbol. But is it possible that everyone can actually come here? And does it mean that only when we sit under the Vatavriksha will we be able to meditate? What Swami has always been telling us, in fact, what we have so far even been talking about is, it is not an external place.
Yes.
But Vatavriksha in fact symbolizes what we need to construct for ourselves. There must be a Vatavriksha in each and every one of our minds, in each one of our hearts, where we will be able to sit and we will be able to subdue that. So I think in many ways the Vatavriksha stands for the symbol of a forest. Typically when we look at a tree, it stands for a forest. And the beautiful adage of Swami, which pretty much sums up the entire Bhagavad Gita, which is head in the forest and hands in the society. Swami never wanted us to escape from the world. In fact, today there is no place where we can escape from and go and meditate. But can we keep our head in the forest while we are having our hands in society? In fact, this is what even Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Mam anusmara yuddhacha. Right? He says, you think about me and fight the battle. So that is the surest formula that Swami is giving us to overcome the stress. If we are able to keep our mind in that location like Vatavriksha, while the hands are engaged in all the duties and the works and the responsibilities, we will be able to actually experience that truest peace.
Absolutely. So we have to get on to this path of sadhana, get on to this path of dhyana, where we can create that Vatavriksha within us and experience Prashanti. Yes, if you are in Prashanti, if you have the opportunity to be here, definitely you should go there and experience that bliss, but take that with you and recreate that in your homes. And that is the reason why in Dhyana Vahini, Bhagwan lays down certain prerequisites for doing dhyana, how we should do dhyana, what are the things that you should be very, very clear about when you decide to walk on this path.
And I would really recommend that for any kind of doubts, this is the Bible for all the Sai devotees, and that we must be able to read this. I think the least of anything, whether we practice dhyana or not, I think let us spend some time in reading Dhyana Vahini, because it pretty much covers every single topic which is necessary for a sadhaka. And I guess whoever has stress, automatically you qualify to undertake the sadhana of dhyana.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the things that Bhagwan mentions in Dhyana Vahini, if you decide to do dhyana, Swami says, you have to ensure that you maintain the same time.
Yes.
You have to do early in the morning, possibly before 6 o'clock. And once you decide a time, stick to it. Don't compromise on that. So same time every day.
Yeah, and especially I think what we need to remember over here is Swami would always mention about this, the 4 to 8 in the morning and 4 to 8 in the evening are the sattvic periods of the day.
Yes.
So doing dhyana during these times, 4 to 8 in the morning or 4 to 8 in the evening, it would be an ideal time to do dhyana. And I think it's more like, why Swami focuses so much on the same time. It's like an appointment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go. Imagine you're having an appointment with the top CEO or with your boss. You definitely wouldn't like to go, late for that meeting, isn't it? Here is a time when you're having an appointment with your Lord, who is
the CEO of the universe.
The CEO of the universe. Yes,
Yeah.
the only executive officer. In fact, he's not the chief. The only executive officer of the universe. So you would want to be on time every time. So that's the important.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to go into detail, every point that Swami has mentioned, that would be a huge discussion by itself, because Swami is talking about having sattvic food.
Yes.
Swami is saying that we should be on empty stomach Basically, once you're on the path of sadhana, there are so many things that you have to do, not just during the time when you're doing dhyana, but in your daily life.
Correct.
So,
Because I think dhyana in many ways is a culmination of all of that.
Yes.
Isn't it? It's a preparation that you need to put in for the entire day.
Yeah.
So whether it is time, whether it is space, Swami says that even try and fix up a particular place where you do the dhyana. Be always in comfortable clothing,
Yes.
not too tight, because your breathing has to be very rhythmic and very harmonious. So Swami talks about time, place, clothing,
posture.
Yes. Swami would often say that have a straight back, as straight and tall as possible, and as steady as possible.
Yes.
So while the rest of your body you may be sitting, it's not necessary that you have to always be in Padmasana, while all of Padmasana would be the ideal posture to be in. But just being steady and having a tall back, that is another thing.
Yes.
As you mentioned, sattvic food.
Yes. And one thing that I noticed when I was reading Dhyana Vahini is Swami is continuously stressing on one important characteristic, and that is cheerful attitude.
Yes.
It's like Swami saying, if you're sitting for dhyana, there should be that beautiful, gentle smile on your face, not just on your face, in your entire being. I think that is something I feel is so important.
And I think, it's Swami's beauty, isn't it? How such a sweet Lord we have, that he has gone to that extent to tell us that smile. All you need to do is to bring that smile on your face, because the moment you bring that smile on the face, automatically the entire body resonates with that kind of joy. And in fact, to add to that, oftentimes we consider, doing any spiritual kind of sadhana means, seriousness.
Yes.
And Swami would always label that as castor oil face.
Yes.
So having a cheerful attitude is an outcome of dhyana. It is also a prerequisite for dhyana. So whenever we sit for dhyana, whenever we sit for meditation, let us automatically bring on our, force ourselves to smile. And slowly but surely, as we, get used to that, you will notice that the rest of your life will also become a smile. And I think smile is the sure shot way to express that peace.
Yeah.
Express that peace to everyone around.
Absolutely.
Imagine if you all the time meet a person, people around you are all the time serious.
Yeah.
You will automatically be stressed.
Yes.
So you are contributing to the stress of someone else.
Yes. Yeah.
Simply by not giving him that simplest.
In fact, this
reward.
is exactly what Swami says in Dhyana Vahini. Don't make the world sadder
Exactly.
by your dhyana. Your dhyana should make the world happier.
Exactly.
It should bring more smiles in you and in and around you.
Yes.
And I think that is something that I feel we should never ever miss. Dhyana is not serious business. Dhyana is happy business.
Yes, and I think this should become a signature of all Sai devotees,
Yes.
which is to have a smile on our face.
Yes.
Right? If that can, in fact, that is one of the, in 1965, when Swami was handing out the first set of Sevadal badges to the first set of Sevadals, he said, one thing along with your badge that you must wear on your body is a smile. Yes. Whoever comes into Prasanthi Nilayam must be able to see that smile, that joy radiating from within, and that comes probably in the beginning it may even be something which is forced upon, but eventually it will become a part and parcel of our being and our character.
Absolutely. In fact, Amey, I am reminded of a conversation that I had with a Sai youth from South Africa, probably 5 years ago. And this sister, when I asked her, what is your most favorite spot in Prasanthi Nilayam? If you come to Prasanthi Nilayam, where will you want to go first? And she said, meditation tree. Wow. And she was probably 15, 16 years old. And I was like really shocked. I said, sure? You want to go to meditation tree? She said, yes. Why? And she says, see, I work for this company, and probably she's finished her graduation and already got into job. She needed to work. And she says that, one day when I was in the office, there was a phone call. I picked the call. On the other end, someone said that, hello, your car is stolen. Your car is stolen. And she says, when I heard that, yes, immediately I was shaken, but just in a few seconds, I got back my composure. Like, I was absolutely calm. So my colleagues asked, what happened? And I said, no, they say that my car is stolen. And everyone around said, your car is stolen. What are you sitting here so calmly? How can you be like this? Do you even realize your car is gone? And in South Africa, it's not easy to get back a thing like that. It's not easy to sort it out. She says, it doesn't matter. I know Swami is in charge. I know it'll just get sorted out. I'm not, going to be disturbed at all. She was very, very calm. And I asked her, how did you get this much of equanimity? You are just 16. It was like a monk who was 60. That kind of equanimity she was, you could see on her face. And she said, this strength, this has come from Swami. This has come from Prasanthi Nilayam. When I come to Prasanthi, I go to the meditation tree. I sit there. And this is the way it has strengthened my mind to face whatever happens in life.
Beautiful. I think that is what happens when we take our sadhana very seriously. We are able to face major crises in our life with that much of calmness and equanimity. In fact, it gives us clarity on how we are supposed to respond in such kind of circumstances. Brother Bishu, I am reminded of another very beautiful, very poignant story, that incident that we were all kind of a witness to in many ways. We all know about the wonderful, beautiful devotee of Swami, Mr. James Sinclair. James Sinclair is one of the more prosperous businessmen in the United States. He has his own diamond business, and extremely wealthy and everything that life can offer. But and yet he takes his sadhana extremely seriously. In fact, he has spoken at various forums in our university as well, where he says that his early morning time with Swami is so important for him, his meditation. Now, what we wanted to share with you is, on one occasion, in fact this happened I think in the early 2000s, when his wife was traveling to Prasanthi, she met with an accident and she lost her life. Now you can imagine what a devastating blow that is, to lose someone on their way to Prasanthi. How much more difficult it can get. So many doubts. And obviously a few days later, Mr. James Sinclair himself came to Parthi. He came to Prasanthi Nilayam. He was sitting there, and Swami called him for an interview. And many of Swami's students were sitting around Swami, and he asked James Sinclair, what do you want? At that moment when you are facing probably the greatest crisis of your life, and you know that the person who is asking you is capable of giving you whatever you want, right? He says, see, this is the maturity of that gentleman. He says, Swami, I want what you want for me. I'll repeat it. He says, Swami, I want what you want for me. I don't want anything else. He could have asked for the life of his wife, but he did not. And I still remember the brothers who were sitting around, they said that they saw the most beatific smile coming on Swami's face, because Swami simply had the smile on his face. He looked at all the brothers and he said, Chudra, see, this is what a devotee is. This is the maturity of this devotee. To accept whatever happens in our life as Bhagwan's prasadam, and with that much serenity and equanimity to accept it and lead your life, that is what dhyana does to us. That is what meditation does to us.
Absolutely. In fact, Sinclair was what he was because of that absolute concentration on Swami. Focus was so total on Bhagwan, and that's why that acceptance became easy. And interestingly, Bhagwan mentions in Dhyana Vahini that once you get this focus on Swami, what will happen is Prema will blossom from your heart, Swami says. And this is again, I find Swami reiterating it in so many paragraphs in Prema, in Dhyana Vahini, Swami says that, see, if you do other kind of sadhana, like, yoga, various kinds of yogas and this tapa, penance, like in the earlier times, many sages and all used to do, Swami says that might give you extraordinary power. You do this penance and you get this power. But Swami says, if you do dhyana, if you do japa, what you will get is extraordinary prema. And Swami says, through this prema, you can bind the Lord. In fact, I am reminded of an incident that happened in 1949. This is recorded in the book Sri Satya Sai Anandadai, written by Karunamba Ramamurthy, madam. Fondly, she is called Kannamma. So, Kannamma, along with her family, used to spend days in Prasanthi Nilayam. In those days, 1949, India had probably just attained independence, absolutely no amenities, no electricity, no roads, nothing. And Kannamma's sister, Radhamma, she had great love for Bhagwan, and every day she would prepare warm milk for Swami. And Swami used to love it. Even though we know that Swami used to hardly eat, even if anybody has had the chance to be with Bhagwan during the dining session, you would have seen Swami will just eat 1 or 2 spoonfuls and that's all. And Swami would never touch milk, curd, anything of those dairy products. But they say that Kannamma, whenever Radhamma used to prepare this warm milk for Swami, Swami would many times partake it. And one day Swami went to Radhamma and Swami said, Radhamma, I am bound to you. I will do whatever you wish. And Radhamma did not have a child for 12 years. And that was the time when she was in the family way, after 12 years. So after staying with Bhagwan for a few days, they go back. And that's when she gets into labor and the delivery happens. And when the baby is born, the whole family is in absolute silence because the baby is stillborn. There is no breath and absolutely no life in the infant. And they are so devastated. How could this happen to us? So much we love Swami and we just came from Bhagwan. But after a few days, Kannamma's mother and husband go to Bhagwan. And when Swami sees them, the first thing, Swami comes almost like running to them and Swami says, still you have come? In spite of this incident, still you came for my darshan? And Kannamma's mother says, Swami, that is our karma, Swami. Why should we blame you? What harm have you done, Swami? It is whatever that we have.
What maturity to realize that.
Yeah. And especially in that time, 1949, when people around were actually hostile.
Yes. Waiting for an opportunity to take you away from Swami.
Yes. But Swami said, okay, but what will the other people say, elders and your family members? I said, does not matter, Swami. We know that you can only do good. This is what we are experiencing, is what we have to go through. And then Swami says, this should not have happened. Radhamma has a strong mind. Poor thing. She should not have gone through this. And Swami says, tell her, I am blessing her to have another child.
Wow, what a...
And then Swami looks at Kannamma's mother and Swami says, you go and tell Kannamma that I, this Satya Sai, will always keep his devotees in his heart. Satya Sai will always keep his devotees in his heart. And then Swami looks at Kannamma's mother and says, believe me, I am your protector. Believe me, I am your protector.
What an assurance.
I mean, as you when you say that through dhyana, through that one pointed concentration on Bhagwan, what kind of prema can come in us that you can bind the Lord. And once you have that strength, then there is no fear, no anxiety. In fact, a year later, 1950, is when Prasanthi got inaugurated. And that morning, in this beautiful procession, when Bhagwan came from the Patha Mandiram to the new Mandir, one of the beautiful scenes that unfolded was Swami used to take these petals of flowers from the palanquin and Swami would just throw them gleefully. And when people used to receive these petals, they would transform midair into silver coins and pendants and sweets and so many beautiful things. And just when the procession was ending, Swami took a huge heap of flowers and Swami just dispersed them with so much of delight. And that time, when the people received those petals on their palms, they saw that it had transformed into a silver coin, a silver pendant with the words, "Why fear when I am here?" with Swami's image on it. I mean, this is the day when Swami gifted Prasanthi Nilayam to the whole world, and Swami is gifting this message also. Why fear when I am here?
And that's exactly the formula that all of us have to keep in this day and age of stress.
Yes.
That when we have Swami with us,
Yes.
then there is absolutely nothing to fear.
Absolutely.
Right? And once we have that knowledge all the time with us, a sense of contentment and satisfaction kind of envelops us.
Yeah.
Right? There is, because we know that what we are seeking is not from the world. It is not a temporary or an ephemeral, source of our peace and bliss, but it's a permanent source of joy.
In fact, that's what Swami says. Once you have this prema, you will have shanti, you will have santosha, you will have vicharana. Shanti is peace, santosha is contentment, vicharana is discrimination.
Yes.
What is right, what is wrong. And Swami says, this will lead you to sakshatkara. And in fact, again in Dhyanavahini, very beautifully Swami says, if there is contentment in the mind, one enjoys an endless festival. Dhyana is the first class cure for the bhavaroga. Along with it, the another drug that you have to take, and that is contentment. With that santi and santosha, your life is an endless festival.
What else do we want?
Absolutely.
Yes. So dear brothers and sisters and dear listeners, what we would like now to do is to actually meditate. And we will have none other than Swami himself taking us through this meditation. So while we all are comfortably seated in our homes, we request all of you to have a straight back. Be comfortable in a position where your hands are on your thighs, back erect. And what we will be now doing is we will hear the voice of Swami giving us this eternal message of I am that, I am He, Soham. This Soham is a mantra that we are chanting throughout the day and the night. Whether we are in the wakeful state or whether we are in the dream state or in the deep sleep, there is one mantra that we are constantly chanting, and that is I am He, I am He. So Swami in this video will take us through this meditation, and while we are chanting in this So, let us inhale, and when we are inhaling, let us believe, let us imagine, let us visualize that we are breathing in His love into our beings. And when He says hum, let us leave out our breath, let us exhale, and let us radiate that love to all people around us. And when we are exhaling our petty selves, our ego and all our bad qualities. And when we are inhaling all His good qualities, karuna, compassion, prema, love, sahana, forbearance, kshamapana, all of these we are inhaling, and we are exhaling all what we do not require. Thereby, we are automatically radiating the love and the peace within each one of us. So come, Let us all join Swami when he guides us on this meditation.
समस्त लोग सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्त लोक सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्त लोक सुखिनो भवन्तु। शांति शांति शांति।
You wish that the session never ended. You want to just listen to Swami and feel his love and radiate his love. And I think that is what we should be doing through our every breath. We hope that this was of use to you. We are really grateful to Bhagwan for this opportunity, and to all of you, dear viewers, for your time, for your patience, for your love. Thank you so much. Sai Ram.